Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first one of this Ggrowgirl series that I wanted to do. Um,
Hi.
Hello, you okay?
Yeah, you. Can you see me properly? Because I don't only see like half the screen. I tried to position my phone properly before I got on here, but now I can only see half. So
Yeah, I can. I can just.
better.
And it is better. I'm gonna have to do mine now, so I can only see.
I thought
Right,
it was
there we
going to be
go.
like full screen for some reason. I thought I was going to be able to see, like, when you FaceTime and it's like a little you in the corner,
Yeah.
just me.
Hello, hello. Oh, getting lots of love already, which is really nice.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm good. I've just put my day 7 vlog up, and I've said on that like I've had a bit of like a low day today, like hormones, I think. But this has actually kept me going. I was absolutely bricking it for this, but also excited. So I've actually been looking forward to it.
I felt the same though, to be honest. Yeah, I think obviously I did one with Kirsty the other week. So
Yeah.
kind
So
of like
when you said that this was your
general.
first one, I was like, what? I really thought you'd done more. This is my first ever live. Ever, ever.
How exciting! How exciting!
I'm trying to.
Yeah, this is my first. Like, so you're starting off the series of You Grow Girl, as I was so happy when I came up with that name. Which is all about obviously our journeys on the one-to-one diet, but also obviously we constantly put what we've lost.
Yeah.
Um, So I wanted to focus on what we've gained and how we've grown and things like that. So that's kind of the focus for tonight. But for those that don't know, I'm going to get them to, well, you to tell us your story. But if you want to ask any questions at all, the little question mark box at the bottom, myself and Ches will be able to see them. So throw some questions in there. Be kind, be nice. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, hello. Thanks so much for the love. I'm just a bit like overwhelmed.
I know.
But
So my journey, I mean, I don't know, anybody that follows me has probably heard me talk about this a million times, so I'll try and keep it concise. We all know that I love to waffle, but um, so I started on plan with Amy Bingham, Amy Plus Slimmers in 2021. I'd followed her on her Amy Plus Babies page, saw all her weight loss, and I was like, oh my gosh, amazing, because I have, I mean, like a lot of us, literally struggled with my weight like my whole life. Um, I've done every diet under the sun. I have lost a lot of weight a couple of times, but it was literally from living in the gym. I did My eating habits didn't change at all, and obviously that's what this diet is so good at, like forcing you to address, especially when you're starting on like the lower steps and it completely strips away conventional food, and you just have to stick to your products. Um, so yeah, I have lost weight a couple of times, but like I said, never because of my eating habits. So every time I stopped going to the gym, essentially, I'd just pile it all back on and more. Um, so I followed Amy, saw her journey, and obviously she started losing weight in like the September 2020, and I didn't start on plan till like April 21. So I'd followed her a while. I think she was like done and dusted by the time I messaged her. And I got to the point where, so when I was talking to Mel about this yesterday, actually, shrinking Mel, um, that when my first weigh in with Amy, I was 25 stone 5 pounds. Um, and I just remember kind of being at the point where I was like I was like scaring myself a little bit, because I was like, I actually don't know how to stop. Like I don't know. Like I've tried everything. I've been on Slimming World a million times.
mhm.
I mean, to be fair, I never tried Weight Watchers, but I'd done calorie counting, I'd done going to the gym, I'd done trying to restrict things, literally done it all since as long as I can remember. And I just thought like I can't, I don't know how I'm going to stop. I don't know how to stop eating like this. And I'm a huge emotional eater, huge. Um,
Same.
yeah, so it's something I'm
Yeah.
still working on, and I think probably will be working on for like the rest of my life. You know, I know that we joke about it, and I call you my little one-to-one unicorn because you're so good at like just sticking at it. And I know there's plenty of other people that have given it 110% and gone for it, but I feel like in any kind of diet that's like a rarity. Um, and I just thought like something's got to give. So I messaged Amy, and then I was on plan for 13 weeks. I was 4 stone in 13 weeks. So I was like buzzing. And then I started having symptoms of gallbladder attacks. So obviously I started in April, and my first gallbladder attack was in like the June. I didn't know that's what it was then. I was back and forth from the doctors. Blood tests, scans confirmed it was gallstones. They told me I'd need surgery, which sent my mental health spinning because it was an irrational fear at the time because I'd never been under general anaesthetic, but I'm an anxious person anyway, and my health anxiety, that's when my health anxiety kind of came in. I did actually manage to maintain my loss, kind of like a couple of pounds up, then a couple of pounds down, and then so I'm getting Amy's messaging me on Instagram. That's coming through on my messages, and I had a gallbladder. Well, it wasn't a gallbladder attack. I was hospitalised in December 21 with pancreatitis, so I had to have my gallbladder out. That came out January last year, and then I piled on like 2.5 stone because I've never, 1B is like my jam. And I haven't got to,
Someone's just asked.
yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
got to the point yet where I feel like I've lost enough weight that I want to start moving up the steps. So I have done the odd week or two on step 2. Obviously, as consultants, we know once you get to 12 weeks on one step, you've got to move up step 2 to just give yourself a bit of a break, and then you can go back down to it. But so I've not moved up the steps, and I obviously just haven't addressed my eating habits properly yet. They're way better than they were, and like I said, I maintained that 4 stone loss for like a good few months. But I think that was probably more out of fear. I was just scared to eat anything because I didn't know what was going to trigger another attack, and they are so painful. Anybody that's had gallbladder issues will know it is horrific. Pancreatitis is about 1,000 times worse than that. So kind of bringing me to like this time round. So when I was first doing it, I met Rosie, Uncensored Diet Bird, through Instagram, and we just like clicked straight away, and we would just chat like most days, you know, a lot of us do on here, and we kept in touch like when I came off plan the first time round, and I think she messaged me in probably around the April last year. I was just like, I know you wanted to be a consultant, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I really need to get back on plan, and it's not something that I can like really afford at the moment. But if I'm a consultant and I've got some money coming in and I've got to buy the products in bulk and stuff, so we did that. So I went back on plan and became a consultant like at the same time.
That's quite rare, isn't it?
Um,
Like,
I don't know,
I
maybe.
don't know, because I obviously, I was like in my head, I wanted
I
to
know.
be a farm.
I remember talking
Do you
to you
remember when
about
we
it.
chatted about this?
Because
Yeah, and I was
you
like,
weren't even going to start till like January, were you? You were like, I want to get to Target, and then in January I'm going to take on Slimmers, and then you were just like in
yeah,
demand.
I've still not got to Target. Yeah, I was going to start in the January, because I wanted to kind of like know the journey and all that sort of stuff. But then it was like, actually, I had someone who wanted to start December, and
Yeah,
that was it. And look at me now, whatever. I wouldn't do it any different,
yeah,
but I don't feel like I could have done it at the start of my journey
yeah.
because I just wasn't in the
No,
mental
same. I think it
headspace.
definitely helps that I'd done it before. I think if that was like the
Yeah,
first time I was ever doing it, Because I remember speaking to Amy at the time I was on plan with her and being like, I do want to do it. I just don't feel like ready at the moment. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster since then, bit up, bit down. So the lowest loss I've got to at the minute is 5 stone 9 pounds. So I lost my gain, which was about 2.5 stone, and then I've lost another stone, 1 stone 9 pounds on top of that. Except for at the minute, I'm up from that somewhere because I went off kilter a little bit like mid-November. Mental health is not a good one.
Well, that's it's not just the physical side of battling the actual eating, is
Yeah,
it? It's
no,
the mental
exactly.
part, which is one of the toughest things to address. And like you
Mhm.
said before, on other plans, we haven't addressed those
Yeah,
emotional eating and those habits and things like that. And
yeah,
that was one of the biggest things for me, I think.
yeah.
Um, Actually going, oh, I do have this determination, or I can not shove that in my
Same,
mouth and
same.
things like that.
That's literally what I was gonna, when we were messaging earlier and you were saying like, obviously the focus is on what you've gained and stuff, and I was thinking about it, and that was one of the first things that came to my head actually, that what this diet has given me is being able to prove to myself that I can do it, that I do have the drive, the determination. Like, I mean, like I said, it ebbs and flows, but there's not one point that I've got to where I'm like, no, I'm Romeo done. It's always a case of, okay, I'm I'm confronting that it's not going as it should be at the minute, or I'm not where I want to be. When you're like battling with your mental health at the same time, it's just so difficult to juggle it all at the same time. And sometimes, unfortunately, plan seems to be the thing that slips. But there's never ever a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this now. I know I say it a lot, but like I really do see it as like a continuous journey. It's not. I don't like to think of it as like I'm stopping and starting, and I'll start afresh, or you go back to ground zero. You just carry on.
That's it. It is a lifestyle change, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it's that mental change, which, like we say, is one of the biggest pros of this plan.
100%.
Um, but it is definitely like, obviously I'm getting closer now, where the mental thing of stepping up is my
Yeah.
nerves.
Can you talk about that a bit? Because obviously I've not. I've gone up to step two, and I felt nervous about that, and that was at a point where I was like, have I been on one B too long? Like, I've never done more than 4 weeks solid on one B, because there'll always be like an off plan meal or something. It's not necessarily for
Mm.
a large stretch of time, literally like a meal. Um, and I remember feeling the same when like I went up to step two, but I know step two just, I don't know, step two just doesn't really feel like a big leap. I feel like once you get to like step 3, 4, 5, that's when I feel like I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. I remember. So I did step 1B for 9 weeks. And in my head, I wanted to be the perfect student. It's the full on teacher in me, though.
Yeah,
So I wanted to do 12 weeks on 1B and step up. And
yeah.
that's in my head, that was what I wanted to do. But my losses started to plateau.
I remember that.
I started to get a bit more like I was bored with how many times could I have chicken tikka in a week, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I know there's so many products, but I was like, oh, I've had this a million times. Um, and I remember having a conversation with Rach, and she was like, just step up. And I was like, but
No,
no,
no, no. Yeah,
I want to stay. I want to be perfect. I want to have the perfect journey. And she was like, no, come on, stop being silly, swallow your pride, step up. And stepping up to step two was probably the best thing that I ever did.
yeah,
My losses on step two were actually better than step 1B.
yeah. You can even
Um,
tell from like your posts and stuff, like, not that your attitude had changed, because like you said, I know that you've always been very determined, like that this is getting done.
mhm.
Um, but I remember speaking to you at the time about how that was starting to affect your mental health, because you were like, I'm trying so hard and I am being the perfect dieter, I'm following it to a T,
Mm.
and it's just not working. And then once you stepped up, I mean, what was your loss last week? Like three and I mean, you're step 3 now, aren't you? It was like three and
Yeah,
a quarter pounds.
three and a
See,
quarter pounds.
guys, literally. I mean, I will need to come to you and talk to you when I start stepping up properly, and you will need to come and
Yeah,
manage me. But
but
just like
stepping up
remember,
to
you're
step.
in a calorie deficit on all the
Yeah,
steps.
that's it. And like I was speaking to Kirsty tonight, Lotus Flower. She's stepping up, and I genuinely think that sometimes our body needs that
Yeah.
food. And mentally, the cooking side to me was a big thing.
Oh, I miss that.
Um,
I miss it.
I, that was what I loved because I'd get in from work, and that would be my little time
Yeah.
where even if I'm just shoving something in the air fryer or whatever, that for me was something that I needed.
Mm.
But yeah, step two, I stayed on for the rest of my journey until what 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've talked you off the ledge.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say I
and
just
it's
saw
hard.
Kirsty's comment.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard because we're so used to what we've known, and for people who've done step 1B for a long period of
Yeah.
time, it's very much like it's the comfort of that, isn't it?
Yes, 100%.
Um, and that's what I found scary about stepping up to step three,
Mm.
because things that I couldn't have before, I could have now, like
Yeah.
carbs. And it's that mental change that we spoke about before of trusting yourself
Yeah.
that yes, you are allowed them, but that doesn't mean that you have to have them.
Yeah, exactly. And
And that's that
that's where I'm
learning
at, I
curve.
think. It's that I mean, I guess it's more excuses because once like we are obviously we love this diet because we are consultants and it is the best feeling in the world to like help other people. And I think it's like you said, when you've got that comfort blanket and you know it works. Like I know 1B works for me.
Mm.
I know my losses are good, and I'm confident in that. And it's feeling like, well, what if I step up and like that's not the case anymore?
But that's the exact same conversation
Exactly.
over Kirsty. But my losses were better.
Yeah.
Like you ever scroll back, I lost
No.
more on step two, and there's massive names have done step two and lost loads.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
with Gemma it was all step two, I think pretty much. Um, and it's the same amount of calories. Let's remember that
Yeah.
step two is the same amount of calories as step 1B.
Yeah.
Um, but you're just having a meal, and
Yeah.
that's all. And I loved I found it like a challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, what can I make? And I loved the cooking side of it.
Yeah.
Um, and it is lower carbs as well. Step two, which I think worked best for me
Yeah.
because I'm like I look at a carb and basically put two stone on. So
Hey, how do you think I gained £19 in 6 weeks over Christmas? Like honestly, I gain big, but I lose big as well. So that's why it didn't really worry me. I mean, I was dreading standing on the scales again, but again, it's like I love that it forces you to be accountable because it works so well. You know that you want to get back on it. It's like you have to step back on the scales. You have to be
Mhm.
accountable. You have to challenge your mindset. Like you were saying earlier, like it obviously it is called the 1-to-1 diet. Anything you put in your mouth is a diet, but it's it's changing your mindset. That's literally the key to it. That's what we're here for because essentially, like I always talk to my slimmers from like day one about maintenance. That's where we're going. That's where we're trying to
Mhm.
get to. Trying to get like the dieting bit is kind of like a means to an end. Obviously, you want to lose the weight to be happier in yourself. Um, but once you're at maintenance, that's where like I mean, like everybody that is at maintenance says it. Like that's where kind of like the real work starts. That
Yeah,
you've got to really utilize all the tools you've learned losing your weight to kind of well maintain.
yeah, and I think it's those obviously doing up the steps, which is what works with this diet.
Yeah, so
Um,
important.
which is the learning part of it,
Yeah.
which like I've agreed with Rach that I'm staying on step 3 until I'm at target now.
Yeah.
Um, because I think me mentally going step 4, I'm not going to lose anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I can manage that right now because I
Yeah.
had a big thing with
Yeah.
step 3. Um, because I think because I can have certain calories and can have
Yeah.
foods now, it is like it's trusting yourself
Yeah.
and building up
Absolutely. And going on
that
that as well, I think
determination.
that's why like having the like one of the best things about this diet is that obviously you get a consultant with it. And I think that's what's so important about having a consultant, because you have somebody that understands you, that you can talk to about it, and it is like it's literally tailored around you. You know, Rach won't be saying to everybody, yeah, you can stay on step 3 till target, because that might not work for them. But because
Mm.
she understands you and she's supporting you and wants the best for you, she's done it herself. She knows what's what with the steps, and you kind of like you work together to get to where you want to be. Like it's just, which is it's why accountability with your consultant is so important. You know,
And that's
yeah.
it.
Because when you've got like multiple slimmers, like we're all different. We all need different things. We all need different things from our consultant. Like I've got some slimmers that like just crack on, get on with it. We check in weekly, send their weigh-ins, and they're happy with that. I've got other slimmers that want to talk every day, and that's what
Mm.
they need.
And when you look at people's journeys on here, there is no person that is the
No,
exact same as someone else.
no,
And that's what's so good about this, that we take it differently and take it at different paces and things like that. Like I wanted to be a target now, but I'm not bothered
mm,
at the moment. Like I'm really not bothered. I know I'm going to get there, and it's just what's the difference if I get there now and
yeah,
in a month?
yeah,
Um, so everyone's journey is different,
yeah,
but the importance of a consultant is insane.
yeah.
Um, and obviously, I'm fairly new to consultancy, but
Same.
I'm trying to be the best version of a consultant as possible because I know how important that role is.
Yeah.
Um, why do you think like the one-to-one diet has worked for you then in comparison to like previous ones and things?
I don't. I think it's like a combination of things. I think one of the things that attracted me to it initially is obviously like the rapid weight loss. Like to stay motivated, I wanted to be seeing those losses coming in, but actually very quickly within like with being on the diet, because I think it was week 3 or 4, the very first time I did it, I maintained that week. I was on step 1B. I think I'd lost something insane like £10 in my first week, maybe like 6 my second. And then the third week, I think it was the third week, like I maintained. And usually that would have sent me spinning and just been like, what's the point? What is the point? But like,
Mm.
I don't know what it was. Something had just like kind of clicked, and I was like, do you know what? I'm not. I just trusted that it was going to work so much, and I'd never ever ever had that before. Um, the community on here, I think, really helped as well. Like I've never found that with anything else. I know that. So obviously, when I had this account under a different name when I was doing Slimming Wild, the million times I tried it, and don't get me wrong, I'm not slamming it because that works for some people,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't for me. And obviously, there's a lot of big Slimming World accounts, especially Weight Watchers accounts, Examty accounts, like they're all out there. But like I've just never found like a sisterhood like this. And that's not to exclude the men that do what the one-to-one diet. I just mean in terms of like you can be in the sisterhood too. Um, I've just never found that with literally anything else. That we've all got each of us back so much, and like I've not met not one nasty person, or one like if I like even messaging other consultants, I'm like, oh, where'd you get your stickers from, or oh, who did you use for that, or oh, do you mind
Yeah,
if I share that? It's like yes, 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 great. How can I help
we're
you?
all there to
Do you want to
support
know
each other.
more? Let me call you, and I'll tell you everything I know. Like I just love it.
And one of the first people that popped up then was like, I think one of the first people that ever liked any of my posts,
Yeah.
Mel. Mel has been literally
Oh,
like, oh,
oh my gal.
oh, then Lindsay throws on.
Literally. I was there for that
Yeah.
moment as well. Mel was mortified.
But yeah, Mel, literally, I remember posting like in my first week, and I was like, oh my God, like these people actually want to support me. And
Yeah.
I was literally like
And it's
10
strange at
followers or something
that
like
point.
that.
Like, I know Rosie's just said it. Rosie, the fag. Rosie's just said it. Like, I've made some of the best friends on here. Like, and it's so true. Like, and we were all literal strangers, like actual strangers.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, I'm just reading the comments coming in now.
And literally, because we've been through this journey together,
Yeah,
like, this is it. And there's so many accounts that I speak to on a daily basis and check in and see,
yeah,
oh, how's this going? Or, oh, I know that you've got this going on and things like that. And it is just basically, like you say, a sisterhood
yeah,
in the wild as well.
yeah.
But it is supporting everyone. And I can't wait to be at convention this year.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
so like, oh no,
I can't wait
I
either.
cannot wait.
I was so nervous for last year as well. Like, it was literally the reason I went is Katie Toft, because I'd messaged her been like, I'm so nervous. Like, I could vom. I wouldn't say I have social anxiety, but I do. I can, like, when I'm anxious, I can be very, very awkward. And I was just like, I can't face everyone. I literally can't do it. And it was the best, the best weekend ever. As Rosie said, the best weekend of her life. But yeah, it was just the best. You're gonna
I
love
get,
it.
I don't know how I'm gonna be because when like people like my posts and things, I get very like fangirly.
Mates,
Like,
I
oh,
was like starstruck. And then when me and Mel saw each other, we just like looked at each other like no words, just like held out our arms and had like the tightest squeeze ever. And it's so weird that like, and like Rosie as well, like she was one of my closest mates. I'd never even met her. I'd literally never met her. And it's so weird how everyone online, it just like comes into real life. But I honestly, I was like fangirling.
that's it. And I think if you don't have a one-to-one account, I know it's nerve-wracking, but I would. It's something I suggest to my swimmers.
I say the
Um,
same.
and not many of mine at the moment have taken the plunge, I think, but it is to be part of that community is
Yeah,
one of the biggest sort of pros of this diet as
yeah,
such.
I agree.
And I constantly like send a link and things of look at this one,
Yeah.
just so they can absorb themselves because without some of the people on here, I wouldn't be where I am. Like,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like the import, like I think it's kind of even on a par with like the importance of your consultant. Obviously, your consultant's important for, well, that one-to-one support, obviously, and obviously knowing the ins and outs of and like food planning and meal planning and stuff. Lucy, um,
she distracted you now.
yeah, she has. Can't remember what was you saying.
Ah, see, me and Kirsty are sharing a room this convention, so we will see what happens then.
Have you booked your room yet?
But we
Rosie's,
have,
yeah,
yeah,
Rosie's been on it today for me because I'm bloody useless.
yeah, booked.
Useless.
Is it Telford?
Yes.
Telford, I
Hope so.
think, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
where
I
me and
think
Rosie are going.
we're there too, so but yeah, it is like an insane community. I've just seen a few people pop up. Like, I didn't realize there was people like local to me that were doing it, and I've got to meet like people
Yeah.
who are here, but then face to face. Um, but yeah, it's insane doing it this way. We've had a few questions.
Yes.
Shall I go through a few, and then we'll talk about more in depth? Like,
Yeah.
I know we've kind of hinted on it of what we've kind of gained from Plan.
I need to stop
Um,
comments.
I keep
Getting distracted.
getting.
Can I like flick them down? No, I can't. Behave yourselves.
So, there's some about being on plan, but there's also some about being a consultant as well.
Yeah.
If you guys have got any questions, throw them in the question box, and then we
Yes.
can both see. Um, so someone's asked. We'll go with the ones on plan first. This is quite an interesting one. Prioritizing yourself whilst being on plan
Mm.
and being part of like a busy family and things. How have you found that?
Um, I think I'm sure it. I could speak for everybody. Like some days are better than others. Um, I find it much easier when I'm in like the routine. So like the weekdays are easier. So obviously Sam works a lot. We share care of my stepdaughter with her mum. So some days she's home, some days she's at her other home. Um, and Sam like works every bloody hour God sends. Um, I find it sometimes it literally could even comes down to like what they're making for dinner. Sometimes I have to ask like Sam to cook. I love cooking. I really really enjoy it. And sometimes I can put a meal together for either my stepdaughter or my stepdaughter and Sam with no bother. Um, if I'm going to do that, I usually try and have like a product before because I feel like, well, it's the age old problem, isn't it? Like when you go shopping when you're hungry, don't do it. So
Yeah,
if I'm cooking and I'm hungry, I'm more inclined to like pick. But if I have a product like before I'm cooking, that usually really helps. And if I'm really honest, like the biggest thing is what I need to prioritize above everything, even being on plan, is my mental health. Like when that's on like a downward spiral, everything else seems to like crumble underneath it. And if I'm in the headspace of like I don't care, even though I do care, I really do care, it's difficult to. That's when I find it most difficult working around. Like obviously, I know that I've shared a lot about how much we want a baby. Um, and a lot of my mental health in the last like 12 months has been linked into that. So we've been trying a year now. Got the doctors on Tuesday to go and talk about kind of like next steps and what our options are, etc., etc. Maybe I'm hoping they're going to kind of like refer us for tests and stuff, so we can even see if there's. I mean, it might just be that it just hasn't happened yet, which is like low key what I'm hoping. um, but like when, like I said, when my mental health is not good, that's kind of when it all crumbles, and that massively impacts like our family life. But being on plan on the other hand, even when my mental health is bad, sometimes it really helps because it's that structure, it's routine,
yeah,
something
it
that I
does.
feel
Yeah.
in control of. Um, sorry, I keep getting shut the corner. Sorry, but yeah, like family life. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like I handle it quite well though, because I just keep thinking like when I came back on plan in January, I was like, I'm really ready to like have this done now. Like I started for the very first time in 2021. Obviously, I know I had to have time off for gallbladder stuff. That was like months, but I just I think you asked the question earlier, Holly, actually, when we were voice noting, and you were saying about like, is there anything you wish you could have done differently? And
Yeah.
I wish I'd have just got it done, like when I could. And even when I came back on plan last May, like I don't I don't regret how I've done it, and it's all part of the journey, and it's a big learning curve. I truly believe that, but I'm ready now, and like my motivation has waned because I think it was Kirsty said it earlier about, or was it Mel saying about like the longer you do it, the harder it is to get motivated.
Um,
And that's something that's why like I'm doing this like vlogging every day, because it's something new to challenge myself with, try and keep like, motivation isn't always going to be there, but I've never, like, the longer I'm doing it, not the less motivated to lose the weight, but like it's harder to stay on plan, especially when you're on the
Yeah.
step. Like, I might feel different when I step up. um but yeah, that was a very, very long-winded answer to your question. What about you? Like, how do you, because obviously you work, you've got a husband, you've got Frey, how does it work for you?
Yeah. Um, so I find like taking products with me so much easier. Um, because it's just like grab, go, grab, go. So that kind of side, uh, it's quite fine. Because I find like there's no pressure of that sort of thing. I think it's and lots of other people will relate to this. Cooking for children was a big trigger. I've said previously about crying over putting cheesy pasta in the bin,
Mm.
um, because that was my thing. Um, Especially like Frey doesn't actually eat that much, um, so I get really annoyed, which I shouldn't. She's fine.
Nice.
Um, when she doesn't eat anything, and then I'm very conscious of, well, I don't want her to have any issues with eating
Yeah,
because I don't want to be like, well, you've got to eat this.
yeah, that's
Um,
effective, isn't it?
so that's something I find kind of like difficult because she wants to eat whatever, and it's just I don't want the waste. Like
Yeah.
Rosie's just said, the waste is the issue.
I'm the same. I'm literally the same.
Um, but it's like that's it, and I keep thinking it's like cold cheesy pasta isn't the
Yeah.
best,
No.
and or noodles or whatever she likes. So it's learning to have that perseverance and determination, I
Oh,
think.
control. Like,
That's it.
you are literally in control of your fingers inching towards that plate or the fork or whatever. Like, it is a choice to put that in your mouth, and that is one of the biggest things I think to confront, is like getting rid of the excuses. Like, you are literally the one putting that in your mouth.
I
Sounds obvious,
messaged
but
you
it's
before.
hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and
It's
that's
hard to
it.
confront that.
Yeah, and it's like that is my choice. I don't need that thing or just because she's not eating that baby bell or
Yeah.
whatever. Like I know people like Rosa just said spray things on it.
I was
But
just
for
about
me
to
it
say
was
that was the best tip I got.
yeah,
I'm really
I
sorry
was
for
just
someone
like
on this live that told me that, but that
it
was
just
like a
has to go in
revelation
the
for
bin.
me. Literally, I'd get the
Um
spray out on the side, ready to go.
but one of the things I noticed though, obviously from when starting plan, she's such a picker. So she'll have like we'll be somewhere and she'll have like a biscuit and then be like, I'll save it for later. And then I'd be like,
And
find
you're there
half eaten,
staring
like,
at it for the next 2 hours, like,
well, I'd go in my bag and completely forget about it.
yeah.
Obviously, with being on plan, there's like half a gingerbread brisket, and I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna throw it away, or she doesn't get them. Like,
Do you find though? Do you think that, because I questioned this the other day? Do you find that when you're on plan, like, you try and tell yourself that like you want stuff that like would never have even bothered you before? Do you think that when you're at maintenance and you're at a weight that you're happy with, that biscuit on the side ain't even going to bother you because you're where you want to be? It's because you're telling yourself you cannot have it.
yeah, I think that's been the thing with step three, um, because I can have stuff,
Yeah.
so it's like I've got that new control of yes, I can have it, but that doesn't mean I have.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, I I can I'll eat it. When I messaged you before, like Fred brought in a bag of Haribo.
Haribo, like sweets are my
Like,
kryptonite.
and put
That
it
was
on
a,
my bedside table. I haven't touched it, and it was like I probably could have one of them
yeah.
within my calories, whatever. But I was like, actually, no, because I'd rather have a really nice meal
Hmm.
or a really nice snack, and it is that choice and that control, and that's the mental change that I've
Yeah.
got to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It's not about the food. Like, and that's something I think I was a bit worried about when I started plan. That is obviously my mind has completely changed on that now. Now I understand how it all actually works and stuff. But like I didn't want like aversions to food. I'd had a I was speaking to Morgan about this yesterday actually. Like I was having a bit of that battle with myself. Like am I buying it further into toxic diet culture? Like I don't want to restrict myself on this plan. It's like 4 products, and you know all the other diets that sell products and stuff, everyone's like, oh my god, it's so awful, blah blah. Like, am I just buying into something that I've spent a really long time, like years and years, trying to change my like mindset on, and trying to, because that's another thing, like aside from the diets, I did the whole like body positivity thing, and actually that's really helped me on plan, because it's helped me accept my body as it's changed, and accept that I'm not going to lose the weight overnight because I didn't put it on overnight.
Yeah.
But it was like the, oh, I can't remember what I was saying now. I do this all the time. Have you been watching my have you been
Um,
watching my daily vlogs? So I'm like,
but that's it though. Like the whole
on,
like restricting yourself.
yeah,
It sometimes we have to do that to understand what we were
yes,
having.
that's what I was saying, wasn't it, about the food? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't want it to get to a point where I was like, I can't have that Haribo, I can't have a sweet because I'm on a diet. But like, it's not about. I remember Amy saying to me when I'd started, it's about like, essentially you can have what you want. If you want to spend those 600 calories on a hamburger from McDonald's, you crack on, mate. But it's about getting the bang for your buck. Like you could have a full on meal for that. So like, why are you doing it? Because actually, it's not going to fill you up. It's not, you're not getting any
Yeah.
nutrition from that, and then you're going to need something else in half an hour. I mean,
I remember making something for 350 calories. I think I did like sausage mash, something the other week. And then I don't know why, but I went on to the Weatherspoons menu
mm,
and their sausage mash was like 1,500 calories. And I was like, it's the exact same thing as I've had,
exactly, exactly.
but it's just that kind of like mental shift, though, is it? And
Yeah,
like knowing, oh, this is that amount of calories, and like Nutri-Check is my favorite thing.
yeah.
Um, I'm like, no, I don't want that because I want to get more for my
What are you
calories and
putting in
things like that.
it? Like, it makes you think like, what are you actually putting in it? Why is your sausage and mash that many calories? Like, actually, why?
And I think it was actually less sausages than what I had as well. Um, and that someone's just said it as well. It's literally for now. It's short term. We're doing this
Yeah,
for
so
long term gains, and I say that all the time to my slippers.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and it's just like, but it's that again the mental change of things.
Hmm.
Um, but for me as a mum, the one thing I didn't want to do was teach eating habits to Frey.
Same.
Um, which I found difficult because I was like, oh no, she's going to see me restricting what I'm eating. Is she going to get, like, she will openly say, no, you can't have that because you're on a diet.
But look
Like,
at
she's
what
only
they've
just
agreed
turned
to do
5.
before. Nobody was questioning it
Exactly.
then. Nobody was saying,
Exactly.
do you really want Freddie
Yeah.
seeing you but pile that massive takeaway in your mouth? Or does
Yeah.
Freddie need to
I
see
wouldn't
you
have
eating 3
thought
meals? Like,
anything of just going, oh, let's have a cake and things like this before.
hmm,
So it's like, actually, what I'm teaching her is healthy habits. And now I'm like, I can have little bits, but I choose
yeah,
what I want. And that is going to be
yeah,
the best thing for her long term, which
yeah.
is something that I really wanted to make sure she knew.
Mm.
Um,
I don't want that for my stepdaughter as well. Like, I don't want her to have the years of um, battling with herself like I have. I don't want that for her. I feel like, I mean, I'm 31 next month. It's been a long time, and obviously, I'm still doing it. I'm still on that journey. I'm still like, I try and use, I try and use like, when she asks me like what I'm eating and stuff, I try and still say like, it's food. I don't want her to see it as like, because it is food. It's just not conventional food. It's
mm,
not what you go to the supermarket and buy. Like, and one of my worst fears is her growing up and I spent years hating myself, and I feel so sad for myself because a lot of that was around like toxic diet culture, like skinny equals worthy, and that was like in my head for years and years and years. So like I said, when I was looking into all like the body positivity stuff, that has actually helped me, but I don't feel guilty anymore for wanting to be healthier either and smaller, because that was something I battled with as well. Like I was saying to Morgan when I was talking to her about it this morning, like I found an old note from like last year at some point where it was really playing on my mind. Like I felt I try and keep my Instagram feed like really diverse. So I like following all the celebs, like all the goss and stuff. You know, the models that are in Vogue, whatever, are beautiful, but then so are plus size people. Like I try and keep it really diverse. And I was thinking, like, I was reading all the captions and stuff from like the plus size accounts, and I was like, I feel like guilty, like I'm like betraying them because I'm on this diet to better
This
myself.
is about health, though,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's
exactly
not
that.
about
Exactly that.
being thin or whatever.
Yeah,
It's all about health.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. When I went for my gallbladder like stuff, when I was having all my tests and that, it was like August the year before, like August 2021, and the doctor said to me like, you have got the beginnings of a fatty liver, like you have got a fatty liver. And he said if you keep losing weight, like that can go away. Like it's not something I'm worried about at the minute. But I was like, gosh, you don't even consider. And that was at the point where I was 4 stone down, and I still had fat on my liver. So I was thinking, God, like what do my insides look like? You don't even think about it.
no, that's it, isn't it? Well, I didn't. I don't think I mentally realised that I was like. I always say digging myself a grave with a knife and fork. Um,
Literally.
like I got my BMI was 41, I think, or something like that.
Mine was like
And
51 when I started.
I
Mental.
just dressed well. That
Yeah.
was it. And I convinced myself that I wasn't as big as I was. I
Mhm.
just put a little bit of weight on, and in my head, I told myself it was because I was on the injection. Well, it was that. It wasn't the fact that I was smuggling food in my dressing gown every night or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, the secret eating, mate.
Oh,
I was bad.
yeah, that's a whole other,
Yeah, that's a
other
whole other
thing.
life.
um, but the thing was, I didn't realise that I had a health condition. Um, and I think that really kind of struck home for me because
Yeah.
obviously with my mum, which I've shared before on here. I'm not going to go too much into it, but her secondary cause on her death certificate was obesity, and that just to me was like I don't want that for my daughter.
Yeah.
I don't want her to have to see that on a death certificate because my mum's was down to health issues
Yeah.
and complications and things like that. But mine wasn't. Mine was just me emotional eating, secret eating, trying to make myself feel better,
Yeah.
but it wasn't working.
And isn't it
So
mental?
when
Like we knew it wasn't making us feel better. Like I'm still prone to emotional eating now. Like it's not anywhere near as bad as it was. And like I said, I don't know if that's going to be lifelong. It's something that I'm going to commit to addressing for the rest of my life. But why do we keep doing it? Not once has emotional eating made me feel better. Not once. Yeah, I still do it, and it's still the first thing I turn to when I'm feeling like crap. Like why? Why is that?
because it's there are little things that are ingrained in us. Like I
It's
remember listening to the
habits. It's
podcast.
habits.
Yeah,
100%.
Rachel and Jem's podcast. There was a really good episode about emotional eating. Um, and it was when you feel sad or something happens, people bring around food
Yeah.
or people make a drink,
Yeah.
and it's those like we become sort of acclimatized
Yeah.
as such to
It's like
if we
conditioning,
feel
isn't
away, we
it?
need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, so when I would like binge chocolate essentially. Um,
Oh, I go for
Tell
anything.
myself I
That's
feel
when I know I'm
better.
emotional eating, when I'm like getting, like I'm at the back of the snack drawer, like looking for like little mini malt loaves that have been in there probably about 2 years, thinking, that'll do. What? It's
Yeah,
senseless, like it's mindless. It's just to like,
and the worst, like phrase having a snack drawer, like
yeah, the,
oh,
the snack
there'd be all
drawer.
sorts in there. Yeah, the
I
snack
know.
drawer, which I've turned into healthy snack drawer now, so I don't want any of it.
Yeah,
Which are obviously better for her. Um, Someone's just asked. The podcast is on Spotify. It's Gem and Rach. Let's chat.
yeah.
Um,
We
Amazing
will link
episodes.
it. We'll
Episodes
link
about
it
everything. We
afterwards.
will link it. Um, but that kind of links into what Rosie said about like the Christmas rubbish in the house.
Hmm.
Um, I personally didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
All we've got is whatever Frey had
Mm.
given to her. Um, and I just, my thing though, I put everything up really high because I
Just can't
can't
reach
reach
it.
it. So like I'll say, Rob, put it up there, or it's got to go up high because then I can't reach it, and it takes me an effort if I want it because then I've got to get the steps out. Then he'll hear the steps and be like, "What are you doing?"
I'm the opposite.
So
I'm like a subtle pain. I'll like have it right in front of me, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave it there because I know I'm not. I know I'm not having it. I'm gonna torture myself with it. And to be fair, I think we bought like the first tin of roses in like probably like October. To be fair, near the end of October. And then Christmas stuff comes out in like July now. Um, and that sat and sat and sat for ages. Like it's just proof that it is literally all about mindset. Because it didn't bother me for weeks, and then once I had that week off when I went away with Sam in like mid-November, it was like they were like siren calling me when I was back because I'd been off for a week, and I was just like, because my mental health was so shite. I was just like, oh, you start getting, it's the old habits that start coming back. And I was like, one's not going to hurt. And then one turns into two, and two turns into 10. And then 10 turns into the next day and the next day. And then it turns into, wow, it's Christmas soon. It's 4 weeks away. It's Christmas soon. So it's fine. Um, and I would literally have maybe like 3 days on plan, and then I'd have a binge. Or that's why I really just think it's so important to see this as like a journey, because I knew I was going to get back to the headspace where I was ready to do it again.
like I found it difficult coming off plan. I know that sounds
No, it
silly, and
doesn't.
I'm not like
This is because you are our little unicorn. Because you've been
I'm not.
months and months and months on it though. Like that must have
Yeah.
been scary.
So I said I was going to have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day off, um, and I did, and I got back straight on plan. But it was that mental like I was giving up the comfort of plan.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm not perfect. Like it's taken loads of determination to do this,
yeah,
and I think for me it was. I know I've spoken before, but financially, like put this investment in,
yeah.
I'm not cheating on it because
Agree. Yeah,
I can't afford to.
yeah,
um, but coming off plan for those days, I was like, I'm not just going to binge rubbish.
yeah,
If I'm coming off, I'm having nice stuff. I saved myself a packet of my favourite hotel chocolate
yeah,
that I've given as presents. So I saved my favourite ones. I just had the one packet. And I was very much like, if I'm coming off, I'm having lovely stuff,
yeah,
not like just shoving loads of rubbish down me because I wanted it to mean something.
yeah. Did you find it
Um,
hard? Because I know that you weren't. You didn't have. I know you had like. Was it like one meal before Christmas? Was it your work still or something? And then I think
the
you just
Chinese,
had a
yeah.
you just had a couple of days over Christmas. Did you find it hard getting back on to step three? Then you were like, I'm ready for it.
I went back on plan Boxing Day and
Yeah,
I was like, get back on it
yeah,
because it was just very much. I think I put this kind of target in my head so much that I wanted to be at goal by Christmas or New Year or whatever.
Yeah.
I knew I was lagging behind, that I was just like, I can't afford another day, and I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy it like immensely to have another day. Like I probably could have,
Yeah.
but it was very much like I just want to get to that target.
That's where
I've
I
got a
went
bit
wrong.
more.
I always found it easy to like get back on plan if it had been like a meal or a weekend. By the Monday, I'd always get straight back to it fine, and that's when it's the consistency. I think I got a bit really big balls like last summer, which was when I had like a week off, and then that's when it just goes like AWOL for me, which is like we were saying earlier, one of the things I regret. Like I've learned now, yes, I can trust myself with a meal or an odd event, but like I need to just get it done now, and like I feel ready for that. And it's like I know it's going to get to the point where it's like, it's monotonous and it feels boring, and you're like, oh, I've been so good for so many weeks. Because like it's changing like the language you use as well. Like I try not to say like food is good or bad or a treat or anything anymore, because like it's just food. You've just got to learn how to fuel your body properly
Yeah,
with
and I
food.
think that's it. And it's just like when I stepped back on, obviously I went back on step three. It was like, well, I can still have 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
Like that is not like only a little bit. Like I could still enjoy my Christmas and things.
Yeah.
Um, but I was just choosing what I could have, and I think mindset does come a lot into it. But I don't know. Obviously, probably very similar for you. But being a consultant now, I was literally like, I want to be on it as much as possible for my summers.
Yeah.
Um, that was start in January, and I wanted to kind of say, look, it does work. You
Yeah.
just got to do this. You got to get straight back on plan and stuff. And
Yeah.
I know it's not like just easy to say,
Yeah.
just do this, but I think I said this before fairly recently on a video, like because you'd said, "Oh, one died unicorn," and people were like, "Oh, you just had a perfect journey." I'm like, well, actually, no,
Yeah.
because I would have been nearly 16 stone at 5 foot if I'd had perfect beforehand.
Yeah.
I'd put on 5 stone in 2 years. Like I've had a perfect journey on this diet because it works for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
but not in the long term of everything.
Yeah.
I've tried all the diets under the sun, and they don't work
No.
because I needed that consultant. Um, but it is just the mindset that you need, and you will get there eventually.
Yeah.
But it's just
I was saying this to, I don't
finding
know if
out when.
you're watching actually, I was saying exactly that to Georgia today. I think I tagged Georgia's one-to-one journey. Sorry if I got that wrong, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But I was literally saying exactly that to her. I said, you got to try sometimes when you're coming, because some people come on plan literally and they want to lose like half a stone. That's fine. Some people come on and they've got like me, my initial target is like a 10 stone loss. And it just feels like an impossible mountain to climb. You've got to take the focus off the scales. Once you trust that this works for you, which it does, I truly believe this will work for anybody. If you've got the mind to do it and you want to do it, it will work for you. And I was saying to her, like, you've just got to keep going. That there is only, if you keep going and you're consistent and you don't give up on yourself, there is literally only one end result, and that is that you will get to where
Yeah,
you want to be. Like there's no other option. Like you're not, if you're
but
doing this diet properly, you're not going to gain weight. You are just going to keep losing. Like it's
yeah, but you've just got to keep going, and
yeah,
that's it, isn't it?
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
saying to slimmers, like that first week is so hard,
Mm,
but you've just got to plow through it. And when you start to see those results and you see that you feel better,
yeah,
you will you will succeed.
yeah,
There's
absolutely.
nowhere.
Yeah,
Um, I'm just wary of time and things. We've got quite a few.
it's been an
What is the
hour.
time? Is it? Have we hit the hour?
Wow, 59 minutes. Is
Okay.
it cut off?
I don't know. I did an hour and 15 last time, I think. But shall we just quickly go
You are
through?
the live queen, mate. I don't know what
No.
you're doing. I'm just going for the
Um,
ride.
so Lindsay had asked,
Yes.
what's the best moment so far as a result of your weight loss?
Ooh. It sounds like cheesy and cringy, but like I don't actually think I could pick out one. Convention was probably a real highlight for me. I felt unreal in that red dress.
And you looked unreal as well.
Thank
I
you.
remember sending you like all these fire emojis and be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
I
You
felt
did.
so good,
Yeah.
and that's what it's about for me. I'm not at target yet. I'm not where I want to be, but I can still feel that amazing about myself, and that is because of the diet.
Yeah.
110%. Like it's it's all the little things in the everyday for me. Like I remember when I came back on planning like last year, I think it was like week 2, I like ran up the stairs and I was like, I'm not breathless. Like it comes into like the everyday for me. I know that's like a real cheesy answer,
And
but
it's finding those non-scale victories as well, isn't it? And
mhm.
like I said quite early on in my journey, if I'd never done my pictures and my inches, I probably would have given up.
Oh my god, pictures, everybody, so important.
Do the pictures. Like I can't share
And
my
if you ever
original.
see them yourself, take the pictures
Yeah,
and the
my
videos.
original ones. But obviously, I don't want to share anymore now. Um, it's not private because of teaching and blah blah. I call them the yoga pictures, and
Oh
if you want to see
no,
them privately, I'll send them to people, whoever wants to ask.
you're
Obviously,
not
there's
an
ones I
ogre.
send
You
them
never
on.
were.
Ugh. But seeing those pictures,
Yeah.
I go, oh my days, and I put me next to it. And when I got into those pajamas this morning, 2 legs in one, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to send this picture to take a break.
You
Like
don't
it was
recognise
one of
yourself.
those
Send
moments.
it to take a break. Nah,
Yeah, I've just done that. But like my face is different, my
yeah.
energy is different.
I was speaking to
Um,
Rosie and Katie actually the other day and sent pictures of, I think it was when it was in lockdown, so it was about a year before I started on plan anyway. I was like, they were like, whoa, you don't recognise yourself, because I'm used to like
yeah,
this slimmer face now. And I look at
yeah.
those pictures and I'm like,
There was the one that
don't
I
recognise
found the other
myself.
day in the green top that I made a reel, and I was
Yeah,
like, what? That was
yeah,
May, literally the month before I started, and I didn't
yeah.
recognise myself. Um, yeah, it was a bit insane. So I think taking the pictures, doing the comparisons, all of that is probably one of the best pieces of advice I'd ever give to anyone.
Oh, we got loads of questions and I
I
didn't even
know, this is
answer
what
them.
I'm like,
Sorry,
oh,
guys.
I know, we're just chatting away.
What's
So we've done the Christmas one, we've done Lindsay's biggest achievement as a consultant. That's an interesting one.
um again another cheesy one I think, but like I don't know, like sometimes I share them on my stories. It's like it's every time they text you and they're like proud of themselves. That's like the biggest achievement for me. When one of my slimmers got to target, that felt huge as well. I was just it's seeing how you're supporting other people, because all the hard work comes from the slimmers. Like
Yeah,
the support is important, but if you're head end in the game, it's not going to happen. I can't come to your house and shove that product down your in your throat. Like
yeah,
the hard work comes from you. So like hearing people, seeing people like proud of themselves, I think is probably the biggest achievement for me, and feeling like I've had a small part in that. That feels like massive.
yeah. And I think like mine would probably be obviously I'm like a month in, like um
Smashing
obviously
it.
getting silver was quite good.
Yes.
Like first month or whatever. But I think it was that people are choosing me.
Yes.
Um, because, because most of them I actually know, and it was just from like my personal Facebook and things like that, or people that I know, that people are actually choosing to invest their faith in me
Yeah.
was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like there's a million and one consultants out there. Find someone that works for you, but that
And
people
not
wanted
everyone,
me.
like every consultant isn't going to work for everyone.
No,
I've had to put boundaries in place this weekend actually, and I was really proud of myself. But yeah, I agree with you. When people choose you, it's like heart one about, when you see those memes, it's like when you order from a small business, somebody does a happy dance. That
Yeah,
is
and
me
that's it.
when
Yeah,
you ask me to be your consultant. That is me,
yeah,
like, thank you.
I know. And it's like, oh, you've got the faith in me. So that's really nice. We are going to probably
Yes,
have to end
yes,
it
I know.
soon. Is there any what? Can you see the questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Is it?
what are your biggest inspirations? How are you
Ooh,
coping with leftover Christmas crap? We did that one, didn't we? Biggest
yeah.
non victory. Biggest challenge whilst on planning. Your biggest tip. Um, there's
Ooh,
actually
there's so many. Um,
we'll
I
do
think.
quick fire ones. I'll
mm,
quick fire you. What's your biggest
Okay.
inspiration?
Rachel. Yeah, it has to
um,
be Rachel.
your biggest
Go
non
have a look.
victory.
Um, get my rings back on.
Oh, I love that.
That yeah, because I couldn't get them on. I've had to actually take them off because they're too loose now, which is weird. But
Wow.
like I
Well
couldn't
done,
get
girl.
I couldn't get that on at all. And like now, I don't know if you can see, massive gap
I'm
there.
proud of you.
Yeah, so that one. Yeah.
Um, what has been your biggest challenge whilst on plan and your biggest tip?
Biggest tip, always take something with you.
Mm,
Have something in your bag at all times.
plan.
So
Yes.
you've got no excuses.
Yeah.
Give yourself no excuses. Biggest challenge, believing what I'm seeing in the mirror is me,
Yeah.
I think, and having that faith of it does work
Yeah.
and it is me and it's just going to take a bit more time. Like in my head, it was like 6 months. That
Yeah.
was it. But now I'm like, oh, actually, if I get there by Feb, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah.
Um,
You will. You will.
£12
Can't believe it.
because you were
That's
there at the
weird, isn't
start of
it?
my journey.
Yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, £12 to go. That's it.
Very,
Um,
very proud of you.
so just to end, I hope we've done kind of most of the questions. What is the one kind of growth that you've taken? That sounds wrong.
Well, is Rosie still here? She'd be all over the bloody comments with that.
Oh, okay. How can I word that differently? What's the best thing that you've gained from being on plan?
Um, Confidence, I think. And belief in myself. Like I said, when I started, I was literally like, something needs to give. I was scaring myself at the rate I was gaining weight, and I was like, I can't stop. So, yeah.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm sorry. I was just seeing Kirsty and Rosie together are like awful.
Oh, nothing's come through on mine. What are they saying? Oh no, no, I'll
There's
look at that.
emojis, sausages. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
sorry.
of
I
course
should have
it is. Of
worded
course
that
it is.
differently.
You're getting blocked from the
Um,
next one, mate. Um,
um,
yeah, and like that's
confidence
belief
key.
and the belief that I
Yeah,
can do it and that I'm
which is
making these changes and that it's
yeah.
coming from me because essentially, like we said, it has to come from you.
If you don't want it,
Hmm.
you're not gonna get it. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Um, yeah. So thanks for coming on with me.
Thanks for having
Um,
me.
oh, it's just so excited. I've just talked for ages.
I know.
Um,
Sorry.
so the next one is going to be next Sunday. I'm carrying on with the series, and coming on our next one is Sharon, who is changing faces. If you have not seen her, oh
Follow.
my God,
Follow now.
follow everyone.
She's in the comments.
Sharon's
She's in the comment
incredible.
section.
She's in there, yeah. Um, insane. She was one of the ones at the start of my journey that I saw that I was like, I want her determination.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so next Sunday,
Those
same
face to
time.
faces she does as well.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. So she's
Yes.
coming on next Sunday, and then I've got some exciting people lined up for the next few weeks. So
I'm
it's
excited for
all
those.
about,
Thank you so much for
yeah.
having me.
And thanks for coming on. Yeah, it's been exciting. I'll share it and tag you.
Yes. Cheers, Gorge.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Love you all. See you
I
later.
don't know how to end it. Bye.
See ya.